blurring the lines between real life and second life. Bringing you in-depth information about the people behind the avatars. Giving you insight like you've never heard before. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fourth Wall with Paul and BK.
Hello everybody, I am the scumbag superstar Paul Slater, and we're back for another edition, our Christmas edition of the Fourth Wall with Paul and BK. I'm here alongside my podcast partner, BK, and his lovely partner, Z. And BK, I'll tell you what, we're getting a lot of feedback on the interview we had last week with Oliver Wonderful and Mad Mike. And I'll tell you what, I learned more last week about the ferry community and the ferry feds and everything than I've known the whole time I've been in SL.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of those things I'm glad that with the interview that we had with Mike and Oliver, that they made sure to say, they were talking about the human side of it and the furry side of it, and they were just talking about how things were different. And that itself was just an eye-opener for me. There was a lot of questions that I still had that we didn't get around to, so hopefully we're going to be able to get those guys back on here because there's so much information. There's so much information they gave that we had to. But like you said, it is our Christmas special. Merry Christmas, everybody. And, today we're actually doing two things. Now, Paul, I know that you are not aware of what happened because this one I wanted to keep a surprise.
Right.
So I kind of went and I sent an email to Emma Gray, and because Emma doesn't voice, and we're respecting that. And she actually sent back and answered all the questions. And these are questions you don't even know about. So the answers that we're getting ready to hear for the first time.
Oh. I'm a big Emma Gray fan, so I'm excited to hear these questions and answers, BK.
Absolutely. So before we get started, because today's show is going to be a couple of different things. We want to thank everybody who is joining us. We want to make sure that at our YouTube channel, you hit the like, you hit the subscribe, you hit the share. We can be found on X. We can be found on, here on Discord. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. And we need to go ahead and thank our sponsors, LPW and Premier, for putting on the show for today. So we're ready to get started?
But real quick, BK, let's go with this.
Yeah.
We're trying to get 50 subscribers on YouTube. When we hit that 50 subscriber mark, BK, we're going to have a giveaway.
Wait, okay, what are we giving away?
Oh, hey, that's going to be a surprise. We can't give away what we're going to give away now, but when we get that 50 subscribers, we'll tell you what the prize is going to be.
Oh, so in other words, you're going to keep this one close to the vest, and then
absolutely.
We're just going to plug them. Okay, I got you. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this. Z, you had the emails that came from Emma. So would you mind going ahead? Yeah, so let's go ahead and start it one at a time. Go ahead and start with the email, and the way we'll do it is read question one, then her answer, and then we'll get a chance to respond to it. So please take it away.
Okay. As BK said, we did send off an email to Miss Emma Gray, and she was kind enough to respond to us. The first question that was put in is, do you want your real life name used or your avatar name? This way we know how you wish to be addressed. And her response is, Emma is fine. So Emma, It shall be.
Okay, that's fair enough. And the only reason why we ask that is because everybody knows that we do blend RL and SL here, and we want to be fair because there are questions that we do ask everybody that, how did you do this in RL? How did you come into SL? So we want to make sure that we're fair to everybody. Okay, well, we know she wants to be, all right, we know she wants to be called Emma, so let's go on. Let's dive into it.
While we do that, can someone please drop the link to the YouTube channel? Actually, you can look in the vault.
Yep, absolutely.
And you will find a link to the current and past episodes on the YouTube channel.
There you go. Thank you very much.
All right. And question number 2. Were you a wrestling fan in real life before getting into SL and learning there was wrestling there as well? Her reply is, I've been a wrestling fan for a long time. I think it was around the end of 2000, start of 2001 that I started watching wrestling with my real life brothers. So my first like big pay-per-view was WrestleMania 17. That is really still considered to be one of the best manias of all
Yeah,
time.
it was.
And I got hooked. We'd just gotten Sky, that in the UK at the time had WWE on it, and it really interested me. And I was the weird one of our family that really kept watching even when my parents stopped paying for Sky. I'd find a way to watch it online somewhere.
I mean, she's right about WrestleMania 17. WrestleMania 17 was a banger WrestleMania.
Oh, absolutely. If I'm not mistaken, WrestleMania 17, Rock and Stone Cold, right?
I'm pretty sure. I think that was the one that was in the Astrodome. I think in Texas.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that the one where the Rock backdrops Stone Cold, and they didn't realize they were so close to the lights and the trusses, and Stone Cold ended up hurting the back of his knee because you see his knee go over a lighting fixture that they didn't account for. Isn't that the same one?
I think so. I think that's the one also where Austin turned heel and McMahon came down at the end. If I'm correct, I might be wrong on that, but I think that's the one where Austin turned he turned heel. I think McMahon came down at the end of the match, and then also in that I think hold on, let me pull that card up.
You got to pull the card.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna bother me now. So hold on. All right, hold on. Bear with me. All right, so yeah, that was. Hold on, go. Oh, that was also the tables, ladders, and chairs match with Edge, Christian, the Dudley Boys, and the Hardy Boys. That was like still a classic match. Yeah. That was the one, that was the one where Austin turned heel on The Rock. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that was when, what was it? The Rock become the corporate? Well, no, he didn't become the corporate champion at that time, did he?
No, that was when I think they were doing the whole ECW, WCW thing. Remember, they had like that whole alliance and all that. I'm pretty sure that was at that time. And Austin turned bad, and that was when he was doing all that silly stuff with like Kurt Angle and like remember like that's still like you still watch it today. It's funny when he's singing Jimmy Crack Corn and I Don't Care and all that stuff. Austin to McMahon.
Yeah, I totally forgot.
Yeah,
about that.
I'll tell you what, that's a hell of a WrestleMania. The first WrestleMania to watch if you're just becoming a fan, though.
Yeah, I have to agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. All right, next question.
Okay. Our third question is, if your answer to question 2 was yes, tell us about your favorite era. Then, how did you learn about SL? And once you logged in, how did you discover SL wrestling? Her reply, as I said, I got into wrestling at the tail end of the Attitude Era. I've gone back and watched what I can from back then and can see why it was so popular. The Rock and Stone Cold were amazing, and Triple H and The Undertaker and more from back then. But the thing is, if you go back now, a lot of the stuff back then, if you watch things like backstage interviews with The Rock and others, there's a hell of a lot more stuff that just wouldn't fly now and really hasn't aged well. The era that's considered the ruthless aggression era was really my first one and got me hooked because it was new and made me curious. And it had its moments, and even the PG era did too. But here's the thing. I'm a female wrestler in Second Life. Up until about 10 years ago, in real life, women's wrestling was never taken very seriously. And now it's at a level that you've had women main event WrestleMania twice. You have a women's Royal Rumble every year. You have a women's Money in the Bank. And even just the other week, they now even have a women's mid-card title on the WWE main roster for the first time ever. I don't particularly have a favorite era, but right now is still the best era for women's wrestling.
I agree with that. I agree 100%.
Oh,
I have to agree on that one myself. I was
okay.
actually
Now,
thinking about that very thing last week. The progression for women in wrestling has been absolutely amazing.
well, here's the thing. Now, I totally agree with what Emma said, but she needed to go back just a little bit and say back in the Attitude Era because, and let's be perfectly honest, you had Lita, you had Trish Stratus, you had Stacy Keebler, you had Victoria, you had Miss Jackie, you had all these women that were gaining the attention where women were becoming more of storylines as opposed to just the afterthoughts. And let's be perfectly honest, when women's wrestling first started, basically they were a novelty item because the bunch of guys went there and it was basically women walking around in bathing
Right.
suits
They
and
were
bikinis.
such, they were more, I mean, Grant, I agree with you on that. Like, all them women, Trish Stratus, Lita, even China, they were good wrestlers, but they were all sexualized, if I could say that, if that's the correct word. Like they were
Well,
there more for
they
eye candy. They had bra and panty matches and stuff like that, where it wasn't really kind of taken seriously yet. Not until like the last 10 years is when it really started getting like, all right, some of these women are better than the men.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And with the whole sexualization thing, let's be perfectly honest, the Fabulous Moolah was the one that started all that, and it wasn't until they were able. And I know the woman, she's a staple, God rest her soul and everything, but it was the reason of what she was doing that women were treated like that. And then it took them, and then up until what Emma said, even after all the transitions, up until that, it was like, okay, these women are actual athletes. These women know what they're doing. And then, like I said, then within the past 10 years, that's when everything started taking off. And then what they called it the women's revolution, I believe, because
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair was part of that because they had the elimination chamber now and all that. So, yeah, I agree with that. And the fact that, it had kind of started back, well, if you think about it, we're talking, oh, Jesus Christ, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And then it took that long for everybody to really take it serious. And now, I'm not gonna lie, when I do watch wrestling and I'm more entertained by most of the women's
Yeah, I mean,
matches
the
because the
women
women
matches
are
are
actually
great.
now, well, the women are now taking more chances they used to. You have it where the women are taking chair shots, women are taking bumps off the top of the cage. Women are getting more into the hardcore, whereas before it was like you had a wrestling match, and yes, you showed your athleticism, but they were so, oh, women can't do that. Women can't do that. Yes, they could. They just took them this long to realize
I
it.
mean, I think this Survivor Series, the past Supercard for WWE, the women's War Games match was probably the best match of the night.
I totally agree. And then, we got Midnight Crow that just commented here, said Tessa Blanchard is the first woman to be the Impact Wrestling World Champion.
Yeah.
So we wasn't forgetting people. We're just throwing out
She
names and
beat
this thing. 'Cause a
Brian
lot of people,
Cage, I think. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that has happened, but yeah, within the past 10 years, and I do agree, that's when people really, really, really started realizing these women are, if not better than a lot of the men.
Yeah, that's a great answer by Emma, though.
Oh, absolutely. Uh,
Absolutely, yes.
all right.
All right, and question number 4. What made you decide to fill out your first application to become a wrestler? Her reply: I joined SL at the end of 2012. I think I was just out of real life college and looking for something to do. And I think I genuinely heard Second Life being mentioned on TV or something, so I decided to try it out. I did very unrelated stuff to wrestling for a few years. One day I happened to find pose ball wrestling. I did it for a while, but weird shit went down with those, and I was training with and training with that was affecting my marriage in SL at the time, so I stopped. Fast forward a few years later with a new wife. Oddly enough, she was the one that found SL Wrestling and introduced me to it. I started in GCW, which is now known as BCW, which is run by Josh Poffo. I trained under Riley Thomas and Nixie D, neither of which I believe are still wrestling to this day, weirdly enough. But I got hooked, and that's the main reason I'm still doing it to this day.
Wow. Emma's been around since 2012. I didn't realize she was that old.
seems like everyone we talk to, it seems like Josh Paffo's been around forever.
Josh Papa is kind of like and I mean this in the most respectful manner. So when people who are hearing this, please, if you tell this to Josh, it is not disrespectful. It's just the honest truth. Josh is, in all honesty, he's almost like an SL petrified statue. He's never going away. He's always somewhere around. He has been here. I think some odd reason. I think like the first day he rezzed, I think he come in. He said, "Let's wrestle." Honest to God, I think that's what he did. I really, really do.
Yeah, and he's good at it. I mean, he's probably one of the best in SL.
Yeah, I agree that he is. But yeah, a lot of people mention Josh Papa because Josh has been around for a minute. And if somebody does tell him, please let him know that we do know that he is having health issues and he's battling it. So please let him know that our thoughts are with him. Even though he doesn't talk to us very much because, he's Josh Papa and, we're just commentators and shit.
We're just
Okay.
a riff-raff.
I agree.
Okay. Next question. And this next question will be a two-part answer. What would you like to see more of and less of in wrestling? Her reply is, in real life, in terms of more, just more wrestling. Give more time to help build people up and tell stories, instead of shows filled with commercials or filler segments that go nowhere. In terms of less, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I genuinely have a difficult time watching deathmatch wrestling. I get why it's popular, and it absolutely works in the right storylines, but there are matches where it happens, particularly in AEW at times, where I've genuinely needed to just leave the room because it's been that hard to watch. In SL, in terms of more, just more of a focus in places on telling a good story and getting across why two people are feuding and not just having random matches. In terms of less, it's probably just people in the community that have huge egos that go to feds or even start their own feds solely to make sure they can have another title in their collection.
Isn't that funny? We just had that conversation during our show with Ali and Mike, where we were talking about people doing stuff out of spite and people not wanting to do storylines and they just want titles. Wow. Okay. Well, at least I'm not.
Yes.
At least I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks along that line.
Why? I mean, I'm going to go back. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but I'm going to go back to her death wrestling thing. I kind of agree with that. I don't hate death wrestling at all, but the difference, so this is 20 years ago or so, I went to a CZW show because it was like right after ECW kind of folded. You had Ring of Honor started, and that was more of a traditional type of wrestling. And then you had CZW started, which started in Philly. And I went to a show, and I can't remember who the two people were that were wrestling, but it was a death match. And when you see that live and not on TV, and like a real death match, not like a production one, oh man, it's brutal. And I don't know how anyone could put their bodies through that for probably making $100 that night. You know what I mean? It was insane.
Yeah, but Emma also had a good point where she said that I don't want to use the word death match, but that's what she was talking about. But I can understand some of the matches where the storyline, like she said, it calls for
Right.
it. Such as, let's just, it wasn't a death match, but let's just all be real. Let's go back to 1998, King of the Ring, Mick Foley and Undertaker, Mankind and Undertaker.
Yeah.
They did everything they possibly could. They did their storylines, and then it culminated in, one of the most talked about spots in the history of wrestling, and everybody knows what spot that is. But it was the fact that particular match, what happened in that match was warranted, because if you go back and look at the history, they tried this, they did this. Undertaker wanted to end it, Mankind wanted to end it, and it was just like kind of like back and forth, and finally it's like, okay, we're going to end this once and for all. Basically, storyline wise, once and for all, one of us is not walking out of here.
Right.
I can agree with matches like that, but if you're just going in and saying, okay, all I know is hardcore matches, and every match I'm going to do, people are eventually going to say, don't you do anything else, or are you just a one-trick pony? And sometimes, like with like if you watch the old Monday Night War chronicles from WW, WW and WCW, Jimmy Hart said, hey, you're trying to one up somebody. So, the first time you're using a motorcycle to run over somebody, and then you're using a car, and then you go to a bus, and then you go to a semi truck. And then what do you do after that? The airplane. Then after the airplane, what, a space shuttle? And then you just run out of stuff. You have to space it out to make it make sense.
Real quick, I don't want to stay on this topic. One of the most badass things I've ever seen in wrestling, I've seen this live, is ECW, Terry Funk, and Sabu. Sabu at the time was probably one of my favorite wrestlers because he was so unique and different, and he don't get the credit he deserves today, Sabu. I mean, he's the one that started kind of hardcore wrestling and everything that a lot of these guys today are still using. But they had a barbed wire match. He ripped the tendon off of his muscle, I think his tricep, just ripped it in half, getting cut. He was bleeding. I don't even know if they even show this match anymore, but in real life, he was bleeding out on the side of the, on the outside of the ring. They had the medics come. They literally taped his arm with duct tape and masking tape, and he continued the match with his arm hanging off. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah, and he later on used that. Like, he used to tape his tendon later on, and he wrote Sabu on it, and he used that for the rest of his career because that was the instance that it happened. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and you won't find people today that would do that.
No.
Yeah. All right, next question.
All right. We have, out of everyone you have worked with in your SL wrestling career, who is the one person that you clicked with in both worlds that made working together such a blast? Her response, I've worked with a lot of great wrestlers over the years, but I think Anarchy is still that person for me. Back years ago, I feuded with her Katie Carter alt for a long time. We did all sorts of shit in the ring and had fun, and anytime we get to have a match, it's such a laugh.
Yeah, Anarchy.
Yeah.
Anarchy's a hell of a talent in that, so.
Yeah, and now I did, Emma and I have had a few conversations, minus this email, because I'm hearing this for the first time. We've had a few conversations. That's something that's always come up, that comes up between her and I. Was like, who would you like to work with? Who'd you click with? And this and that. And to me, it's very important that because you get people that you don't like, but you have to work with them because the show must go on. But when you find that one or two people that you can BS and have fun and laugh outside of it, and then you get in and you really want to put together, and you both are on the same page, and you both have the same mindset for it, you can make some awesome storylines and great matches.
Agreed. I agree.
Okay, Z. Next.
Give me 1 second. I've got a message just popped in.
Uh-oh. What kind of message are we talking about?
Oh, Julie.
Oh, your daughter.
My daughter. Just to be open, my daughter is, as of Wednesday last week, 27 weeks along. And just sent me a text that I had to answer. So
That's cool.
all right. Our next question. Like just about everyone in wrestling, you don't have butterflies going into your first match. You have pterodactyls. And you still get butterflies no matter how many matches you have. Other than your very first match, has there been a match you were in where you got those first match jitters again? Her response, mostly for me, I don't tend to get jitters. The only time I get anything close to that is when I have a big blow-off match at the end of a big feud, because I want it to go as well as possible in order to make sure it gets the best finish it can.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well, I guess for me, I can relate to both things because even though it's in SL, every match I've ever gone out for, I get the butterflies because you start second guessing, or I do. You start thinking, did we write the right match card? Did we use the right moves? Is this going to make sense? How's this going to go? I get nervous before, but like in real life, when I used to go deer hunting, I never got nervous because most people you talk about hunters, and like with my military service with the hunters and things like that, when you're aiming your weapon at something, they're talking about. I never got nervous for that until after the shot.
Yeah.
After my prey, I got nervous. But going into SO wrestling, I walk in there and my stomach's turning the entire match because I'm so worried I'm gonna screw up.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. When I did commentary, I never got nervous because it's everything that was going to happen was going to kind of be out of my control because I was just kind of I mean, this too, BK. Like we were just announcing, we were just telling everybody what was going on in the ring, so I never really got nervous. My big thing is, I mean, I don't wrestle, and when I have wrestled, I've gotten nervous, definitely. But like doing promos, which is what I mostly do, this because you always broke my balls about this. Is I'm a constant overthinker, and I don't write my promos. I don't script out my promos. I have bullet points in my head, and right up until like my music hits to go out, I'm like, man, I don't even know what I'm gonna say. And then I get in the ring, and then everything kind of calms, if you believe that. Like then I'm like, all right, I'm in my element, and boom, and then I do it, and then but right up until the moment I'm going out, I'm like, oh man, like how am I gonna say it? How am I gonna say this? How am I gonna say this? And like I'll give you an example. I debuted at the Full Circle thing. And I had to do this big promo and all this thing. And I'm like, man, I had an idea in my head for like a few days of what I was going to say. I walked out and I'm doing the thing and I'm like, shit. All right. And then as soon as I got in the ring, it all got back to me. I'm like, all right, here we go. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. Yeah.
I know because you and I both talked about that we only write bullet points. We don't script it out because you and I don't look at it as promos. We, just like what we're doing right now, we look at it as conversations. All we're doing is talking. Yes, we're trying to get points across. Yes, we're trying to tell a story. But all we do is talk. And if anybody went back and listened to our previous episodes where we were talking about that storyline we did, where that's kind of where I got nervous because I knew what was going, and I screwed up and I used your real name. I used your real last name, so it does happen.
Yeah, it definitely happened.
Now, Z, you yourself here recently was able to get in the ring because we brought Sacrilege in. Yes. Now, Emma says that she never has gotten nervous, but she's worried about big matches. You and Emma kind of Sacrilege had a big match towards the end of OEW. What was your feelings going in, knowing that you were working with Emma, and how are you feeling going into that last match?
Oh, I had the pterodactyls at that point. But I think most of the reason for that was because I was so new at being in the ring. I've always been more of a background cheerleader, shit talker ringside. And my biggest worry wasn't even for me. It was because it was such an intricate storyline that I was terrified that something was going to go wrong and I was going to fuck it all up for everybody.
Yeah, sorry about that because I was the one that wrote that storyline, and I have a bad habit of getting very in depth and very detailed and very intricate. So yeah, but yeah, I mean,
speaking of storylines,
well, I like the way you do your storylines because it does make it more relatable, more real, and it draws you in. It makes you want to know what's going to happen next.
Okay, Paul, what about the storyline?
Go to the next question. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Okay. Your train of thought derailed. I imagine that.
Okay. In your opinion, what has been your best storyline?
Okay.
Her response, honestly, I don't really know for this one. The whole storyline of my turn in OEW this year was probably right up there because we went all in on it. And this was my first proper solo heel turn of my entire career. And it had to be told right or it probably would have flopped. It sucks that we didn't get to go further with it in OEW, but I'm going to try. We're going to be trying, to evolve my character more in places like LPW, where I am now, and help it grow more in the future.
Can I start with this, BK?
Yeah.
So we'll get into the storyline, but so this is what a lot of people don't know, and I hope Emma remembers this. So right before I had to leave, I started getting health issues and everything. Me and Emma had conversations, and like I said, Emma's one of my favorite SL women wrestlers, you know, and Casey King could probably attest to this. Every now and then, when I was when I was doing the storylines and stuff for OEW, I would hit Casey out and be like, "Yo, you know, see if Emma wanted to come to OEW, blah 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 blah," and it was always, you know, it was a time thing mostly. So I hit Emma up and I said, "Hey, I got an idea about me being your mouthpiece and like you turning heel and you know, going like in a different direction." And she was really hesitant on it at first. She said, let me think about it. And then she did it. And unfortunately I got sick and I had to leave. And then that's when you came in, BK, with the, you know, with the storyline that you created with that, which was going to lead into me coming back, which would have been a hell of a, I mean, it was going to lead to me coming back and Emma being with me and us, you know, that situation with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in case, and not that this won't ever happen. If it does, you know, it's great. But just to let you all know, when Paul let me know that he was having to step away for health, and he had told me, and Emma and I had spoken and whatnot, I had actually, and the story that you saw starting off at the last there at OEW that started with Emma and Sacrilege, which also involved Emma and Z and me. Eventually, that was going to turn into where we were going to create a faction where Paul was going to be the mouthpiece, and it was going to be Emma. I was coming in as Insidious, and Z was coming in as Sacrilege, and we were going to basically run roughshod and just take over, and we were going to be the heel faction that everybody hated.
Yeah, and me and Emma were going to be kind of like, in leading up to that, Emma and I mean, we were going to kind of be like the Joker, Harley Quinn type of characters, where it's like everything was me setting everything up and her, you know what I mean? I get upset talking about it because I was going to do stuff.
I was so looking forward to doing that story. I really, really was. I wanted to bring the new and improved, I shouldn't say improved, but the the makeover that I gave him Insidious, because anybody that remember him, he had the black and the red and the orange and the yellow fire hair and the mask and all that, and I totally revamped him, and I was so looking forward to revealing his new look.
Yeah, well, things
all right,
out of our control.
Yeah, it does. All right, next question.
All right. Have you ever been doing something SL wrestling related, a match, a promo, recording a video, that you either got too excited or upset over how it was going, that you cursed at your screen and anyone else in the house just gives you that look like you have three heads?
I've done that a lot.
I've gotten that look several times, a few times, but it never really phases me that badly. I get excited and annoyed like anyone else, but I never really let it get to the point that it affects me in real life.
Yeah, I don't let nothing affect me. I get pissed off sometimes when something don't go the way I want it, but whatever.
Not that I know Emma this well, but talking to her over the years, and anybody else that knows her knows that Emma usually, she's pretty even keeled, mild mannered. She's like, yeah, hey, we'll work on it, we'll do this. Could you imagine Emma? Yeah, I mean, I've never seen a picture of her in real life. I'm just saying, just imagine somebody that we'll use her avatar. Can you imagine her sitting there and just her going off? And the last thing, I'm glad that y'all can't hear me, because then you'd want to know why I don't voice more often. Can you just imagine her going off on it and just
curses us all out behind the screen?
Probably does. Yeah, she's probably calling us all, right. Especially with you, Paul. What's that favorite word that everybody's favorite? Wanker? Isn't that what they like to call you?
Yes.
They call you Wanker, Paul.
Still do sometimes.
Oh, Emma replied. It happens occasionally where she shouts at the screen and cusses us out. I'm gonna have to get hold of her wife. I'm gonna have to get hold of Emma's wife one time and see if she'll secretly record Emma doing that so we can actually hear it. All right, keep moving. Let's get next question.
All righty. What regrets, if any, do you have about your SL wrestling career? Probably just when I've invested a lot of time and effort into several feds that have ended up closing. But also, I guess, not trying to turn heel prior to now, because I'm having so much fun with it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that that some people, not everybody, but some people that I've noticed won't do. They'll get in to SL wrestling and they'll say, "Okay, I have to be a good person because I'm a good person. I have to be a face. I have to be a good guy." And then they don't deviate from that whatsoever, even though they should. And it expands them and they don't. And then they don't realize just how much more freedom you have as a heel,
I
what you
mean,
can do and what you
yeah,
can't do.
I agree. I mean, like in my instance, going like I've been a heel since I started, and it's hard to go to be a face because
Except for that, except for the one
one
storyline.
time, yeah, but that was what 3 years ago. But like since
Yeah,
then,
right.
it's just hard. So I'm like, you know what, screw it. Now I'm just gonna just do what I do. I enjoy it
Yeah.
because, like you said, I can go out there and say whatever I want to piss people off. I mean, somebody said to me just recently about something doing like, oh, you got to make sure that you don't get him any booze. I'm like, do you know what I do? Like people, like I believe me, no one's gonna boo him. They're gonna boo me. You know what I mean? Like so, and I'm not trying to talk with an ego or nothing, but like people just grown to hate me, like in all the the feds I've been in, and it's just like whatever, and I get that. Like you have so much more freedom to do, and I try to push that freedom to that envelope as far as I can.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what you got to do. But sometimes you have to venture out. Like I said, everybody, in all honesty, nobody is. You could pull it off, but nobody is ever going to fully 100% buy you as a face because they're always in the back of their mind because you've done it too many times.
Yeah.
When are they going to turn? When are they going to turn on their opponent? When are they going to turn on their tag team partner? When are they going to turn on their client? It's just because you pull it off so well. It's almost like Paul Heyman. You can't envision Paul Heyman being nothing than a heel mouthpiece.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, but I know ways I could do it. It's just I haven't had that opportunity yet.
Okay, well, we'll get it all figured out.
Yeah,
We'll figure, we're in PW over there now, and I know they'll let us do some stuff. So
yeah,
I'm sure we'll be able to come up with something over there.
yeah, we'll see. I'm enjoying what I'm doing now, though. So,
Yeah. Okay, Z. Next question.
Okay. Who in the RL wrestling world have you used for inspiration in getting your persona to where it is today? Her response is, my persona was always generally how I imagined myself being in the ring. I guess the more I did SL wrestling, it was likely influenced by the rise of Becky Lynch, but mostly because she's a fellow successful Irish female ass kicker. As for my heel persona, I don't really have any real life wrestlers that were intentionally an influence on it. It was just how I imagined I'd be, knowing that people found my ab hot and it was going to my head.
yeah, I mean,
Oh,
if you look at my Twitter sometimes, I always comment on when she posts his pics. And I know that it annoys her, and that's why I do it most of the time.
yeah, and the fact, let's just be perfectly honest. Everybody knows I got a weakness for redheads. You got Emma, who's a redhead, and she's a great wrestler. And then she's talking about another great looking redhead in Becky Lynch. And then, of course, I'm partnered to a great redhead. And then my number one favorite person that I would propose to, even though I'd get laughed at, I'd want it as a gag picture as a bucket list, is Reba McEntire. So you model yourself after a redhead, you're not going to get any complaints from me.
Well, we had a running joke for a little bit, and she would post something, and I would make her post that little emoji with the eyes looking up, like the annoyed eyes, like
Yeah.
looking up, and I'm like, every time she said it, I write yes.
Oh God, that's kind of like me with the times I make BK go speechless and I mark up
Oh,
points.
yeah. It says something and I can't even respond. I just put three dots, the pursed lips, and just kind of doing the glaring. And yeah, I get it.
And I mark up a point for me every time that happens. I tell you.
Right. All right. Next.
All right. Is there anyone you have not had a match with that you wish you could?
Ooh.
I never really know an answer for this. The one person that always comes to mind is Brooke Owens. This isn't an exaggeration, but I remember having one of my very first matches with her back in like 2016. and we have never had a rematch in the 8 years since.
Wow. I remember Brooke Owens from Fusion.
Yeah, well, I know the name Brooke Owens. I've never worked with her. I'm familiar with her, but I do know that she has been considered to be one of the best female in ring performers in SL, and I could totally see why Emma would want to do a rematch.
Great.
But the question is, and I actually I guess I should have asked this, is that if somebody were to come up to Emma and Brooke and say, okay, we want to give you two the dream match, what kind of match would it be? I forgot to ask that. Maybe next time we get Emma on the show, we'll get her to elaborate on that a little bit more.
Yep.
All right.
All
Next.
right. Who would your ultimate dream match opponent be, and would there be any special stipulations?
I think she just answered that.
Yeah. Brooke Owens.
Yeah, apparently.
She
Okay,
says,
what was her answer?
she says, I have no idea how to answer this question. I don't tend to have dream match opponents. If there was a way to make Emma Gray versus Becky Lynch possible, that'd be fun. But seriously, in SL, I don't really have anyone that comes to mind, to be honest. But I am open to ideas and suggestions and always open to facing anyone.
Ooh.
Well, that's
Sounds to
interesting.
me like it sounds like Emma just pretty much said, if you
That
want
sounds
some,
like an
come.
open
That,
challenge.
that's pretty much like if you want some, come get some.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody who's paying attention to it, Emma Gray pretty much says, "Come get it if you want it."
Yeah, come get that ass whooping.
Right? I mean, what's the Belfast Babe? Is that
Yeah.
Belfast? Isn't that what? She calls herself the Belfast Babe. Yeah. So apparently, the Belfast Babe wants to prove why she's the Belfast Babe brawler. You all, yeah. Mhm. All right. Moving on.
Okay. In real life, what is your favorite kind of match to watch? To me, in terms of a kind of match, what I enjoy, it isn't even like a specific stipulation or anything. It's just one that's got a well told story and a good build up to it.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, but yeah, okay. So I'm not saying I'm the most creative writer and the most creative person in SL, but I always try to think outside the box.
Yep.
And the way that I write is like, okay, this is who I'm in the story with. This is what's going on. This is how we're told the story needs to end. So we need to end it on a bang. So what I do is I go up and say, okay, if this one is going to be the big one, this is going to be, one where I've got to push somebody, I've got to get somebody over because they're going for the world title in their next storyline or they're doing something, then I go, okay, what kind of match do we need to start? Do we need to end with that's going to get them what they're looking for? And then I work backwards.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Same way.
it's one of those that some people get upset because they're like, well, your storyline. Well, I don't care that you think my storyline didn't require it. My job was to write a story and to be in a storyline to do this for this person and this kind of match to win or this kind of match, whatever need. This is what's warranted because they need big momentum going into it. Because you got to stop thinking about just yourself. You got to start thinking about the overall picture and what your job is. If you're not in the title picture. And you're not, what is your job? Your job is to do what you're told. You need to get the next person over, or hey, you're going to be in line to be on a title run on the next cycle, so you need to write a story where you get over, but you got to do it the right way. It's not just okay. We're going to have four matches in a 6 week storyline. I'm going to win 3 of them, and that's going to give me my momentum. No, it's everything that builds up to it, how you have to work up to it, how you have to, and things like that. So my last matches are always the bigger ones.
Agreed.
And
I
then
agree.
and then you just go. So I can understand not having a dream match or some kind of match you haven't had, but at the same time, I like when people think outside the box. Like, look, I'm going crazy with this, and it's like, how crazy are you going to go? Okay, I like that, or you could do that, but let's do this with it. But a dream match to me is always to me. I try to make every end of storyline match a dream match.
I agree.
Okay, next
All
question.
right. In SL, what is your favorite and least favorite types of matches to be in?
Okay.
Generally, anything hardcore is always fun. Things like last women standing matches give me and my opponent a lot of freedom to mess around with weapons and spots and just have fun with it. My least favorite are probably just squash matches in general. I like having competitive matches with people and having a back and forth and not just destroying my opponent in no time at all. Let's be honest. I'm 5'3" and 125 pounds. I'm not squashing anyone on a frequent basis.
I mean, I'm not big
Oh,
on squash matches either, but sometimes, I mean, you need them.
yeah,
You
sometimes it's
know?
warranted if you have big, like, God rest his soul, like when Omen
Yeah.
was, Omen, he was a big avatar. Um, and I'm just gonna go bring up some other names. Tank Ventura.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Bannock.
see who yeah, Bannock Og. And then
I mean, there's a lot.
Hiroto.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Hiroto, they're big men, so you want them to be created as monsters. So before they cross each other's path, they need to say, "Look, I'm here to dominate." So he's going to go in and dominate somebody. Say, "Look, nobody can beat me." And then, so yeah, squash matches are needed as long as it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
And in the
Yeah, I mean,
women's world, it's like putting Emma up against Jenny.
Right.
That's a
yeah.
Yeah.
squash.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, there's certain situations where.
although I'm not gonna lie, I think that would be a very entertaining match between Jenny Mulkey and Emma, especially with the way that Jenny likes to poke fun at everybody. Like she took that video and I think she wrote M what you write M took the picture that a video that we did and took my picture and like signed her name or signed her initials on my
Yeah.
forehead or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think that would be very entertaining. Now, here's the reason why it'd be entertaining, and this is not a shot at either one, and this is just truth. Now, Jenny does get on mic, Emma doesn't. This would be one of those things where Jenny could be pulling her little pranks and pulling her little, oh, everybody's just smoky, we're all going to be friends here, and Emma doesn't say a word and just kicks her in the mouth.
Yeah,
That
the silent but deadly.
exactly. I agree. Yeah, there you go. The silent but deadly, and it's not a fart. I got it. Okay. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Thank you, Brittany. And for those of you who are just listening, and you're not in the group chat right now, and you're going to be listening on YouTube, there's a video. And actually, Paul, when you get ready to put this
Yeah, I'll
put this
post
in,
it.
just stick that. There's going to be a picture that Brittany just found that Jenny took a video that I had me involved in it, and she froze it, and she put JM on my forehead in black magic marker. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. See, Jenny pulling stuff like that, it just pisses Emma off, and Emma wouldn't say a word, just walk up and just basically brawl and bitch slap her.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
that would be funny.
Exactly.
That would be funny. That would be good. That would be funny. Okay. Okay. Oh God, I'm cracking up here. I'm in tears. Okay, next question.
Okay. What is the strangest match or story you have ever been in?
Oh.
Strangest match was probably an Elevation X match, which started as a four-way, but someone dropped out, so it became a triple threat, and then another person didn't show up, so it just ended up being me versus Katie Carter, which I literally had to rewrite by myself during the show as it was going on. The strangest story was probably my feud earlier this year in BCW just before my turn, where I literally feuded with a girl over the color pink. It was purposefully strange to try and play into my in character mental breakdown or whatever I was going through that led to my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I have to admit to get into the storyline over a color. Okay, that one. Okay. I
On
would.
Wednesdays, we wear pink, damn it.
I, okay, I'm not gonna lie. It's just one of those things that as good as a writer as I don't even know if I could write a storyline to get two people fighting over the color pink. I don't know. Well, hold on now.
Well,
Paul
I
could
mean,
because
if that's your trademark, then I can see it, you
well,
know?
I mean, Paul could because we all know Paul that one time the Pepto Paul where you had on the pink outfit or the
Yeah.
pink or the pink speedos or something like that.
Yeah, I had a
Oh,
G string on.
the G string that you
I
got
was wearing
straightened out.
pink suits, and then it just caught on. People call me Pepto Paul.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, and so I can understand you being able to say, well, I could do something with pink because look at what I did.
Yeah.
I don't, as good as I am, I don't know if I could or not. I don't know.
I'm like, like with that was that the whole story with the Pepto thing was it was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I wore a pink suit the one day, and everybody just and
Yeah.
it caught on, and I'm like, shit, I'll just wear it every week now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know one year during breast cancer when was it October
Yeah.
during the cancer
Mhm.
awareness I was in now is Premier what was then VAW and I was booked to do a promo and I remember I got a first time in my entire life in SL I ever got compliments on my shoes because I had a pair of shoes that you could change the color and change the different sections and all that. So I turned them pink and white for and that's the only time I ever wear pink. And people were like, "Why are you wearing pink?" It's like, dude, it's October.
Yeah.
Really? Why wouldn't I?
Yeah. People
So I
forgot. Yeah.
could yeah, I know. It could be something like that.
Mhm.
Bitch. Okay, yeah, everybody's going off in the little chat here. We got Emma saying that I asked for the strangest, and I did. So she said pink, and we got pink was Emma's thing, and I see Emma wearing it in Fusion, and that's from Chris, baby Chrissy's here. Mike talking about bitch stole styles, bitch
Well,
stole
he
style.
said that he's watched enough RuPaul to understand that two
Okay.
women can feud over a color.
Oh, okay. I missed the RuPaul comment. Okay, Mike, you're absolutely right. Yeah, RuPaul. Yeah, yeah. Drag queens. Yeah, they will fight almost over. They're almost as catty as
Yeah.
biological women. I'm just saying
Yes.
nothing against any of them, but they can be even cattier, especially when it comes to makeup and shoes and style. And yeah, I've
Oh,
seen it.
God, yes.
I have been personally in real life. I have been to several drag shows because I have friends of mine who are in the community and also do stuff like that. Yeah, I've seen it. I have literally seen cat fights breaking down where they forget that the drag queens and they're throwing hands because somebody wore the same color pink that this other one did. I've seen it. I
Oh,
have seen it.
yes. Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, hot mess. A hot mess. Yeah, exactly. That very good terminology there, Chrissy. A hot mess. Okay. Next question.
Okay. In real life, what has been your biggest live wrestling event that you attended? And what is the biggest event in SL that you've been a part of?
Okay.
In real life, in recent years, I have been to WWE Clash at the Castle in both
Ooh.
Cardiff and Glasgow, as
Ooh.
well as AEW All in London in 2023. In SL, it's hard to determine what's considered the biggest event because a lot of the big events I've been part of have been in feds that no longer exist. I've been in a battle royale on a DCWF WrestleFest. I had the match with Volcano at OEW Immortality. I've never done like a big show like VWE or WPWF because I genuinely have no plans to ever go to either because the times don't tend to suit me.
Okay, well that's fair enough. But wow, been to the Clash at the Castle and AEW All
Yeah.
In. Okay, that's impressive.
Yeah. That is.
Hmm.
I personally have never been to any major events, although that is going to change in a couple of years because I'm bragging right now. I'm going to go ahead and brag right now. In case you don't know it, the city of Nashville is building a brand new domed arena in the middle of downtown that's going to be taking. It's still going to be called Nissan Stadium, but it's taking the place of the current Nissan Stadium, which is an open air stadium. And it has already been determined that building is going to be open for the. If I'm not, it's either it's going to be open for the. See, we're in 2014. It's going to be open for the 26-27 football season,
Yeah.
and football season is usually over in January. So we're talking, you know, 20. So we're talking the year 2027. It's already been determined that WrestleMania is going to be here, and I will be there because I will be working and I get to watch it for free.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to a lot of big shows. I mean, I was at WrestleMania 15 here in Philly just this past year. I didn't go to WrestleMania, but I went to the Fan Fest. That was pretty cool. I've been to a bunch of ECW stuff. I've been to WCW stuff. I've been to a lot of RO. I mean, God, we can talk for an hour, but yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, I like when you're at a part of something and like something like I was at the show when it was during the Monday Night Wars and WWE took over the ratings, and it was when Austin was going to fight McMahon, and Austin had to tie a hand behind his back, and then Dude Love came out. I was at that show. That was in Philly, so I was like, I like them kind of things. Remember them kind of things because they were like important parts in wrestling history. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I've been to a lot of stuff.
Yep. All right, next one.
All right. In real life wrestling, we get to see the characters play out storylines in various ways. And depending on if the characters can actually pull off each part, makes the difference in people getting invested in what they're doing. Or if people just have to watch because it's part of the show, and the same goes for SL. In your opinion, what does it take to grab people's attention and keep them wanting to see what happens next? Her response is being able to do something that makes you stand out, whether it comes down to how you look, how you talk, how you wrestle, how you tell a story. It's like with my heel persona now. I wanted to get people's attention. So one of the main things I've been pushing is all eyes on me. It's literally at the name of my current theme in LPW. I'm dressing different, I'm acting different, I'm wrestling different, and it's getting a response and making sure all eyes on me isn't just a tagline or a catchphrase. It's making it come true. If you want people's attention, you need to find what works for you to make sure that everybody in that arena is paying attention to what you are doing.
I agree with that.
Oh, 100%. It doesn't matter if you're the title holder. It doesn't matter if you are the opening act or, the opening. Doesn't matter what you're doing. When you go out there, you want to steal the show. And that's how you should write everything. That's how I do it.
And that's a good answer for new people who are coming into SL wrestling. To really get your character over and to try to, get the crowd, to engage in your character.
Right. And, some people look at it as, oh, you're being selfish because you're wanting all the attention. Well, yeah, I do want the attention, but I want the attention for the story that I'm writing and the build up to it. And the fact that if I'm creating the attention that I'm looking for, people are going to continue to come back to the show to see what I'm doing. And then guess what? You're in the show too. They're going to see what you're doing. So the best thing is always, 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 when you write your stories, go out there with the mentality that whoever is coming, whatever is coming, the people that are in a storyline and they're, for the booking and all that, if they're following behind you, always write it as you need to try to follow this. Yeah. Then if you're in the thing where somebody's doing something really good and you happen to be booked behind them, then you need to go out and say, oh, that's what you're going to do. Watch this.
Yeah, I have done that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what needs to happen is that you pay attention, you read the room, you see what people's like, and and then you find a reason for them to want to come back every week. It doesn't matter if they're only coming back because they like one person. Yeah, doesn't matter if they're coming back because they like or they don't like you. They're coming back for a reason. Make it a memorable reason to keep them coming back because they want to see what's going to happen to you. They want to see where your character is going to go. So that is where I totally agree that you need to write with all eyes on me. But you also need to make sure that you're doing it where it's like, okay, I'm doing this for me, but I also got to make sure that people are wanting to come back for the rest of the show, and they're not just, hey, when's your part? When's your part? No, you want them to come in and watch the whole thing, but you want to stand out.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, we got
Exactly.
2 more questions.
We do. If you had one do-over, is there anything you would have done differently? Everything I've done to this point in my career has helped me in some way to get here. I could have joined Feds sooner, or I could have handled situations differently behind the scenes, but I don't think I'd be where I am today without the experiences I've been through and the lessons I've learned along the way.
I mean,
Hmm.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, she's being perfectly honest about it. She says, she's very one thing I can say about Emma, and I know there's a lot of people in SL wrestling that are the same way, and I know there are people who are not, but let's be honest. Emma is very based. When it comes to what she likes and what she does and her attitude, she is very based. So I have to 100% agree with what she just said. There's
Yeah.
there's, there's nothing there's nothing to dispute.
No, there's nothing at all to dispute.
All right, we got one more, right?
Yep.
There is one more.
All right.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Maybe pass on some advice to anyone listening who may be on the fence about filling out their first wrestling application?
Okay.
Just give it a go. You can learn something new, meet some new friends, and hell, you might find you'd be better at it than you've ever realized, but you'll never know unless you try. Excuse
Well,
me.
I mean, she's not lying
Wrestling
there.
feds across the community are always looking for new people, new stars, new opportunities, and if you're lucky, that could be you. It all just starts with a simple application. So give it a go, and maybe we'll see each other in the ring someday.
Good answer.
Well, I mean, it really is because even doing that, it's just kind of like, a lot of times, we've had conversations. Z and I have had conversations. Paul and I have had conversations, and sometimes the answer is you never know until you try.
Yep.
So yeah, go put yourself out there. Go and try. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not for everybody, but I would much rather say I tried and didn't like it, or I tried and it just wasn't for me, as opposed to saying, "Well, what could have been? What if? What shoulda? Maybe I should have." It,
I
it, it, I would rather try and fail than never try and just somebody say, "Oh, well, you were just too chicken shit."
I mean, I agree. I agree with you, and I think one of the big thing is like with people, especially new people, is listen to the people who've done it, who are doing it, and who are good. Like, God rest his soul. We're gonna bring Omen up again. Like, Omen taught me a lot about SL wrestling, how it works, how like different things of like commentary and everything, like how it worked. Like he wasn't like where most people can think they're a big shot and be like, "Hey man, whatever, man, some new guy." And telling him like Omen really took the time out for a while and like got me used to ingraining myself into Premier Wrestling and into SL Wrestling as a whole. So I mean, there's a lot of times where I've seen newer people and you say something to them and they're just like, "Yeah, whatever," and it's like, "All right, well, okay, good luck." And
Yeah.
I think you should listen to the people. I mean, there's a lot of like we brought up Josh Poffo. Josh Poffo's probably got a Grand Canyon's worth of knowledge of SL wrestling. Ask him about it. Ask him about what he thinks is good. You know what I mean? Like things like that. I think a lot of people are timid and don't want to ask, or you have some people who maybe in the past they said something like they blew you off and said, "Wow, you're another commentator with no voice."
You're never gonna let me live that down, are you?
Never, never.
But yet, be honest. After I said that, what did you do?
I became the best commentator
And why?
because I wanted
Because
to, out of spite.
you wanted to spite me, is what you wanted.
I'm going to use Oliver's term yesterday. Spite.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the last of the questions we had for Emma. So I know she's listening in, so we do want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to answer the questions. And I'm sure we will come, somewhere along the lines where we're going to have you back on the show because there's a lot of things that we can discuss that we didn't even scratch today.
Yeah.
Okay, so now comes the fun part of this, and I love Emma to death. I love working with Emma, but sometimes you know how it's just like, it's like almost like a kid at Christmas. You're like, okay, yeah, I know I got to do the 12 days of Christmas, and we got to do, but you just want to get to the part that's really really fun. So as much as I love Emma, I said it before, and as much as I loved her taking time to respond to us, this next part we're gonna be a little quick. We stretch out a little bit, but this one is the one I've been looking forward to because we talked about these lists that we did, and Paul, you're not too happy about my number two
Oh no,
suggestion.
but all right. Okay,
But however, before we get started, you said you have a rant that you need to go on, and
dude.
I have one I need to go on as well. So go ahead and do your Christmas rant.
So I watched A Christmas Story, and it's a great movie, and I'm not gonna shit on it or nothing. But the biggest villain in that Christmas Story is the mother. I'm going to tell you why, BK. All right.
Okay.
So in the beginning, everything's fine. Ralphie and the brother and everything. She dresses the poor kid, the youngest kid, Randy, up, and he can't even move. And she throws him out the door. Right. So then the father gets the thing. He wins a prize. They bring in the fragile, the leg lamp, right?
Okay.
He's happy. The poor guy works probably 90 hours a week. He's stressed out about the boiler downstairs. He's stressed out about Christmas. He's stressed out about the kids. He has one thing that makes him happy. He gets his thing, and what does that woman do? She breaks it on purpose, right? Pure villain, right? Now, Ralphie. Now let me get to the biggest part of it. You remember the part where they're changing the tire and Ralphie says, "Oh, fudge, the mother of all curse words." Right? So the father comes in. The father comes in and tells, "Oh, guess what your son just said," and whispers in his ear. She goes completely overboard with it. The poor kid said the F word, goes completely overboard with it, right? Then the next scene, he has the soap in his mouth, and what does she do? She calls the friend and rats the other poor kid out who had nothing to do with it. Instead of just saying, "Oh, you know what? He's a kid. He said a curse word. He probably heard it around here." No, she gets on the phone and calls. I forget the kid's name who won it. Calls it, and the mother's going crazy and starts beating the shit out of the other kid. That woman in the Christmas Story the mother is a pure villain.
Okay, so you're telling me that this mother is like one of the original Karens?
Oh, I mean, yeah, 100%. The way she.
Okay,
come on.
Okay, so I have a confession to make. I am 52 years old in real life. I have never watched A Christmas Story.
Wow, that's.
I've never.
Then you have no grasp of the whole. You'll shoot your eye out.
Okay, well, like I said, it's my real life. She's always like, we need to. In all honesty, I just never had a desire to watch it. I mean, it's kind of like when you see trailers for movies, and you look at that and you're like, that doesn't even interest me. That's what the Christmas Story did. I just never had any interest.
It's a fun movie. I mean, I didn't like it when I was a kid. I grew to like it as an adult.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my turn to go on a rant. The only rant, the only Christmas, the only movie that gets this for me, Die Hard. Die Hard is a fucking Christmas movie, people. I know there's action in it. I know that there's some killing. It is a goddamn Christmas movie. It is not an action movie, and it is not a bromance movie between John McClane and the beat cop. It is a Christmas movie. Plain and simple. Leave it alone. The argument's over. I said it.
Oh, I agree with that. You know what? Here's the thing.
I don't care. I don't care what Bruce Willis confirmed. I don't listen to Bruce Willis mainly because he's a leftist and he goes on unhinged rants. It is a Christmas movie. That's how it started out. That's what it is. You cannot convince me otherwise. I'm too old.
I agree. Like, you know what? When people argue about Die Hard being a Christmas movie, you know what movie I bring up that's a Christmas movie that's really not a Christmas movie? It's A Wonderful Life. It's A Wonderful Life. It's not a Christmas movie. It's just about a guy who has dreams, and his dreams get kind of, he has to take forks in the road and disavow his dreams because he has to take care of a business and family. The only part of Christmas in that movie is the end. Where Die Hard, they remind you the whole movie that it's Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you are now going to hear our own personal compiled list of our personal opinionated top 10 worst Christmas movies ever.
I have to pull my list up.
Okay, yeah. Z, do you have your list ready to go?
See, I'm a complete slacker, or I'm too easily amused, because honestly, I can't come up with 10 that I didn't like.
Okay,
I did manage 5.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'll tell you what.
Let's cut it down to 5 then. Let's do 5. Let's do.
No, I can't do that because I have. Okay. I tell you what. Let me tell you what mine is, and I'll tell you why I can't cut it down to 5.
All
okay. All right. Number 10, unaccompanied minors.
Unaccompanied minors. I don't even think I've seen that.
That's the one where a group of kids, and they at the time they didn't even know each other, and they were getting, supposed to be catching a plane. We're supposed to be catching the same plane, going to the same place because they were all going to families' houses for Christmas, and they ended up getting the flights ended up getting canceled, and they ended up causing havoc in the airport, trying to make Christmas happen when they wasn't going to be with their family for Christmas.
You know what? I got to put that on my list. I'm going to watch that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to agree with that one.
Okay, number 9, Red Claws, starring Vince Vaughn. What?
Oh, God.
You like that movie?
I love that movie.
Oh, you are so sick. Something is wrong with you.
I love that movie. It's a Christmas movie.
Okay, number 8. 8 Crazy Nights, the Adam Sandler animated Jewish.
I agree with that. I like some of that movie. I thought, it was. It isn't on my list, but I can see why a lot of people hate that movie for some reason.
Yeah, well, to me, it was like I like Adam Sandler and this and that and everything else, and I'm fine, and I have no problems with your religious beliefs and all that. But it's the fact that at the time that movie came out, he was riding high on that. He was doing his comedy show where he was doing the songs like "Piece of Shit Car" and the how, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh well, since I'm doing so well, let's throw this out there, and it's like it was thrown together in like a week. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I don't hate it. But I like a lot of people are like this. It's silly, more silly than anything.
Okay, number 7, Home Alone 3.
Oh, I agree with that.
Okay, number 6, Santa Claus 3.
Oh, dude, I agree with that 100%. 100%. That's on my list.
Okay. Now, so I'll tell you what, Paul. Go ahead and you read 10 through 6, and then since Z only has 5, we'll do our top 5s together.
All right.
So start with your number 10 and go through 6.
Number 10, I have Christmas with the Cranks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I try to like that movie, but it's just so stupid that I can't like it.
Okay, hold on. Before you go into it, we just had to say that. Can we get a mention? Does anybody have Bad Santa in their top 10?
Nah, dude, Bad Santa's a great movie.
I agree.
I have Bad Santa 2.
Okay, I agree with that.
I've never seen Bad Santa 2, but Bad Santa's great.
I did, and all it was a very lame, watered down continuation of the first one. But the first one, I laughed so hard. Okay, all right. So, your number 10 was so number 9 for you.
Number 9, Santa Claus the movie. I don't know.
Tim Allen?
80s. It was an 80s movie. And here's the funny thing about this, real quick. When I was a kid, I thought this was one of the best Christmas movies ever. Right? It was just about Santa, coming and helping this poor kid out and all this stuff. I watched it as a kid. I loved that. I watched it every year. I watched it again like a year ago, and I'm like, this is the worst fucking movie I've ever seen in my life.
All right, number 8.
Number 8, Four Christmases.
Oh,
Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon.
What? Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm thinking of another one. Okay, didn't see it because I don't like Reese Witherspoon. I don't like Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, I didn't like. I love Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn's one of my favorite actors, but that movie was just terrible.
Yeah. All right, number 7.
The other one I watched with my daughter. My daughter loves this movie. I'll Be Home for Christmas with that kid from.
That's actually in my list too, and that's my number 3.
Yeah, it's stupid.
That's my number 3. Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Thomas. Yeah, from Home Alone.
Yeah, that movie
was terrible.
All right, number 6.
Number 6, I had Santa Claus 3.
Okay, so you and I had the same.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're down to the top. Okay, so since you're already talking, what is your top 5? Start with number 5.
Yeah, let's see. Good Z, you go.
Yeah, Z, start with number 5.
A Christmas Story Christmas.
Never heard of it.
That's a new one, right?
They did a second version of the Christmas Story where Ralphie is grown up. And I'm sorry, they should have left it alone.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard. Okay. I tell you what. Go ahead. I tell you what, Z. Go ahead and finish your top 5 out. So number 4.
And as I said, Bad Santa 2.
Okay, that's fair enough.
A lot of my list tends to be because, as Chrissy is saying, she doesn't like remakes. They should have just stuck to the originals, or these are themes that they have gone on for so many freaking years and through so many themes that I'm just sick of seeing them.
I agree.
Because number 3, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh my God!
Really?
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry. I love Chevy Chase. I do, but I'm sorry. They did so many fucking different National Lampoon's movies that by the time it got to Christmas Vacation, I'm over it.
Okay, but they did redeem themselves with Vegas Vacation.
Oh, Vegas Vacation is great.
Yeah,
yes,
I can relate to that because I used to be a dealer. I can relate to that.
The point where you can only do the same shit in different locations so many times before I just don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah. All right. Your next
Ernest
one?
Saves Christmas.
Oh, that's on my list.
That's my number 5. That's my number 5.
Again, they did so many of the fucking Ernest Saves things, and I am so fucking over it.
I agree. All right, number 2.
I'm going to get hate for this one, and I fully accept that because y'all did your rants. This is one I have to rant about.
Uh-oh.
And that is Home Alone.
Oh,
the first? God. No, the first. Come on, you gotta leave the. No, come on, you gotta leave the first one.
No, I'm sorry. Mothers get arrested for leaving their kid at a grocery store because they forgot they took them to the store with them. But this whole fucking family gets on a plane and leaves their little sociopath at home.
But hold on, though. If you remember at the beginning, that neighbor kid had his back and they touched the head and counted. So they actually thought they counted and didn't realize till they were in the air because they said everybody was there.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. Even if you're counting with the kid, you're in the air. You didn't make sure that the kid got in his fucking seat? He's a little fucking sociopath.
And the thing about it is Emma actually made a comment there, said that with today's age, with the all the phones and the ring and they would not have known the kid was home alone. So that movie could not be made today.
No, it couldn't be made today. But it's like, it annoys me. There were absolutely hilarious parts of it, yes. And right. I mean, that's great, but that one, it irks me.
Okay,
what is your number? Z with two classics on our hate list.
Right. We have so many. All right, and your number 1 worst Christmas movie is?
That was the Home Alone.
That was the Home. Okay, I lost count. Okay, yes. Paul, number 5 for you.
Right, number 5, Saving Christmas. I don't know if you ever seen that.
No.
It's with Ben Affleck and Tony Soprano, James Gandolfini.
Wait a minute. Is that the one where Ben tries to act like he used to live in the old house, and he was like, we used to call this the squeaky set. See, I remember that part of the movie because Soprano was looking at him like, what is your problem, dude? Yeah. That's the only, I saw bits and pieces, but I happened to see that scene.
Yeah, the movie, it's a terrible movie.
Okay,
hold on, make my list. Hold on. All right, my next movie might make people upset because I know people like this movie. Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, now the first one I'm good with. I hated the second one with Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, the first one was so stupid. They're looking for that robot, and then they're in a parade.
But if you think about it, go back and think about it. Not that we would go to that extreme, but you and I being fathers, and we would, we're one of those. We would go to the extremes, do whatever we could to make the kids happy. Granted, that was overboard, but we might do something like that. I mean, I might actually go shopping and do something like that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do nothing that crazy.
I'm sorry, I have to agree with Paul on that one because I mean they did it with the Cabbage Patch dolls. They did it with that fucking Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah.
People going absolutely insane in the stores over these freaking toys.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it happening, but if I wanted to freaking watch it happen, I'd go to Walmart and watch it. I don't need it in a movie.
Right.
All right, Paul, what's your next one?
What number are we on again? I lost count.
Three.
Jack Frost. It's not
Which
a Christmas.
one?
The first one. It's not a Christmas
Which
movie.
one? There's two of them.
The first one.
The one with Michael Keaton?
Yeah, it's not a Christmas movie.
Okay, yeah, that's more like a Frosty the Snowman position.
Yeah, it's not a Christmas movie.
I got it. It was a good family movie though. So I mean, okay, I give you that one. All right, number two.
Number two, and it's another one that might make people upset, is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, I am not telling my RL or my. I'm not telling either one of my real life, my wife. I'm not telling my kid because both of them love that movie.
It's not a Christmas movie. It's just stupid.
Oh, Paul, you are getting all kinds of responses now. You are getting booed out in the studio right now.
That is going insane smooth.
Oh, and there's a fuck you. And all right, what's your number one all-time worst Christmas movie?
Santa Claus 1. First one.
Okay.
I hate that movie.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay,
the first one where he falls off the roof and it's ridiculous.
Yeah. But I could live with that one because, like I said, it was Tim Allen, his goofiness, and so I could accept it. But when it got to the third one with Martin Short playing Jack Frost, that was too much for me.
The second one, I see the second one. Like my daughter, my daughter's big Christmas. She loves all of them and everything. It's just like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't like it.
All right, so here we go. So for me, my number 5 is Ernest Saves Christmas. Along the same lines, exactly what Z said. Too many were done. They were trying to push it too much, especially when they come out with the commercials. But hey, Vern, you know what I mean? So it kind of killed, kind of like what Kevin Hart does a little bit. Kevin Hart gets shoved down your throat. Jack Black gets shoved down your throat. They're great for a while, and then after a while, it's like, I don't want anything to do with them. And that's what they did to me with Ernest. Mm-hmm. Number 4. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
The Christmas horror movie where the kid dresses up as Santa Claus because of the traumatic thing. And the part that got me is when the guy was trying to take advantage of the girl in the woods and he just kept running over him with the Jeep. And the woman just looked at him and said, "Thank you." And he went, "No problem." I'm like, really? You just killed a guy and your answer is no problem? Number 4, I'll Be Home for Christmas. Number 2, Paul's going to go off about this one, but Deck the Halls.
Dude, I love that. I love that movie.
I'm sorry, but Deck the Halls, it started out as a Christmas movie, but in all honesty, what it turned into was a movie about little man syndrome. Because the only thing that oh God, I just forgot his name. Not Matthew Broderick.
Danny DeVito?
Yeah, Danny DeVito. Through that whole movie, he was concerned about one thing and one thing only, and that was him getting noticed by everybody. He was doing everything he could to be everybody. That was a little man syndrome movie. That was not a
end. The story at the end is they all came together.
He wanted to be seen from outer space. That was little man syndrome. That was the ultimate all eyes on me.
Yeah, right. But it was a goal, and he achieved it. And let's not forget, that was a badass freaking Christmas thing that he set up.
Yeah, that he had to steal his wife's heirloom to pawn off to buy it.
Hey, man, like shit happens, man. When you have that goal in sight.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, and my number 1 worst Christmas movie of all time, Santa with Muscles starring Hulk Hogan.
I refuse to watch it.
Oh my God, I forgot about that one. I blocked that out of my freaking head. Oh,
Uh
okay. I'm with you on that one.
huh.
Anything with
I'm
Hulk
Absolutely.
Hogan's
so with
horrible.
you.
Yeah, you have to agree. But come on, Santa with muscles, really?
Yeah. I'm
Oh.
still kind of upset. I'm going to be honest with you. That Z has two of the best Christmas movies of all time on our hate list.
What? So?
I'm just upset about it. Two classics.
So I'm just, there's just something about them bugs me. And like I said with the National Lampoons, they just did so many of them. And I'm sorry, they were doing the same shit in different places, and it's like, been there, done that, next.
I got it. I got you. All right, so let's go real quick before we end. Let's go favorite Christmas movies.
Just one? We're only gonna choose one,
All
right?
right, let's do our top three favorite Christmas
Oh,
movies.
okay, you just threw that one on me, so I didn't have it written down. Let's see, top three favorite Christmas movies. Well, number one. No, let's see. Number three would be. Okay, I'm sorry, but this is kind of by default, even though it would be A Nightmare Before Christmas because
Wow.
I have to watch. Well, I have to watch it every year, so I kind of have to. I kind of have to go along. Number two. Hmm. That's kind of. Ooh, what would be a good? Um. You know what? I don't even watch a lot of Christmas movies. I don't know if I can come up. Honestly, on the spot, I don't know if I can come up with a
All right, you think
top.
about it. How about you, Z?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Let's say, all
think
right, here's the question, Z. It's Christmas right now. There's three movies you're going to watch. You have to watch to get you in the Christmas spirit. What are they?
I'm going to go way back and go with a Charlie Brown Christmas.
Okay,
I always
acceptable.
Oh,
loved that one.
okay, that's
I
fair.
always loved that one. Um, then we'll go with Scrooge.
Yep, I love. That's my.
Oh,
I
okay, okay,
absolutely
okay.
love that retelling of A Christmas Story
Okay,
in a more modern version.
The Bill Murray version, right?
Yes, the Bill
Okay,
Murray. I
okay, very
absolutely
fair.
love that one.
Okay, very
And
fair.
I think, let's see. See, I'm at a loss on a third.
Okay,
Although
so
I've got to kind of agree with Brian with A Nightmare Before Christmas because that's
Wow.
my girls loved it. So it was
yeah.
one that we watched every year.
Okay, so I think I got mine down. So number three would have to be A Nightmare Before Christmas. Number two, in all honesty, I have to agree with Z. Number two would have to be A Charlie Brown Christmas because I mean it's a classic. And in all honesty, I'm thinking my number one Christmas movie, not the Jim Carrey version, but How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
The cartoon one.
We
Yes,
go.
yes,
There
yes,
we
not
go. The
yes, yeah,
cartoon.
yeah. The animated version, not Jim Carrey version.
Yeah, the one you waited all year to watch that.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, Paul. Now your turn. Top
All right.
three as we're getting
So
ready to close out.
number three is The Grinch Who Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey. I love that movie.
Okay.
All right. Number two is Polar Express.
Ooh.
Oh, good
Okay.
one.
See
Okay.
now, let me go with a little thing right here. The Polar Express. The reason why I love that movie is at the end when they're in the North Pole. That's how I would think Christmas would be every year if Santa would with Santa coming out, all the elves are going nuts, and that's how I would like to picture the North Pole to be on Christmas Eve. All right.
Okay.
Number one favorite all time Christmas movie is A Christmas Carol, the 1984 version that was on TV. I watch it every year. Sometimes I watch it twice a year, and that's my favorite movie of all time, The Christmas Carol.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Fair enough.
I can do that.
All right, Paul. You ready to take us out?
Let's go. Yeah, you end it this time, BK. You do it better than me.
Yeah, I do it better than you.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we want to thank you all for listening and tuning in. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and share button. You can leave comments in our open mic chat in our Discord. You can leave them on the YouTube page. Also, make sure to check out our our sponsors, Premier Wrestling and Limited Pro Wrestling, get their shows in. Go and say hi to them and make sure that you support them as they have been supporting us. Actually, after this show airs the week of Christmas, we're probably going to end up taking a little bit of a break because we do have the holidays, kids out of school, and all that stuff. But we will be back in a couple of weeks. And who's the next guest we got coming up?
I think we have Rain coming on.
Right, yeah, that's right. That's right. Rain is going to be coming in here. So anybody who's never heard her voice before is going to get a special treat because I've never heard her own voice. So you all enjoy your holidays, and I don't care about being politically correct. You all have a Merry Christmas. You have a Happy New Year. Everybody be safe. Everybody be sound, and we will see you all back here very, very soon.
Yep. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Stay safe. Enjoy whatever you do. Don't drink too much.